Everybody, and welcome to my talk on Chirstopher Marlowe. Firstly, I would just like to thank Ms Baker for sandwiching me in between two much more interesting talks. I think it really helped with the audience side. And also, well done to Ella for explaining to me why I only wrote this last night. Secondly, there is going to be a small spoiler for Game of Thrones, but it's nothing you shouldn't know already if you've been on the internet for like the last year. So today I'm going to be talking about Chirstopher Marlowe, his life, his death, the mystery surrounding it, and what he might have done afterwards, which I can already tell might irritate Dr. Edwards slightly. So, judging by the reactions of my friends when I told them I was doing a talk on Chirstopher Marlowe, you might not know who he is. Essentially, he was an Elizabethan playwright, poet, and translator, most famous for his play Dr. Faustus, Edward II, and for having Kit Harington named after him. Like Shakespeare, he came from very humble origins. His father was a shoemaker, and Shakespeare's father was a glove maker. They both went to non-fee-paying schools. The difference is, when Shakespeare didn't go to university, Chirstopher Marlowe did. At 16, he got a scholarship to Cambridge, and like many other Cambridge graduates, he became a spy. But we'll have more on that later. Today, I will explore the key aspects of his life, mainly his sexuality and his religion, so we can better understand his death. So, my first question today was Chirstopher Marlowe gay? So, like Shakespeare, this question gets asked about Chirstopher Marlowe quite a lot. But in a way, it doesn't really make sense, because to the Elizabethans, they wouldn't have understood the question. They had no concept of sexual orientation at the time. However, there are some very strong homosexual themes in much of his work. For example, this extract from Edward II shows that Chirstopher Marlowe was advocating homosexual relationships by appealing to many of the ones that existed in the past. Furthermore, Edward II was about a gay relationship, or it has been interpreted that way by many modern critics. Furthermore, he allegedly said, "All they that love not tobacco and boys are fools." But we don't know the veracity of this comment, because it might have just been made up to slur his reputation. However, I do find it incredibly impressive that Edward II, which was described by Ian McKellen as the first major play about a gay hero, was published in 1594, given that homosexuality was only legalised in 1967. So, to my second question. Was Chirstopher Marlowe an atheist? Chirstopher Marlowe lived in a very religiously tense period. As I'm sure we all know, the Reformation had just taken place. There was fears from Queen Elizabeth that the Catholics were trying to kill her, and there were many violent acts taken against Protestant refugees. To be an atheist at that time was to be seen as an enemy of God, and therefore an enemy of the state, so it was a very serious accusation indeed. However, being an atheist didn't have the same meaning that it does now. To a Protestant, a Catholic could be an atheist just because they didn't believe in the right type of God. Whilst Chirstopher Marlowe was working for the English government in the Netherlands, he was working as a spy, and his job was to root out Catholics who might be a threat to Queen Elizabeth. There, he was accused by his roommate, Richard Baines, of saying some pretty blasphemous things, such as Jesus was gay, the Virgin Mary was not a virgin, and you shouldn't be afraid of hobgoblins. So this is a very big deal. Chirstopher Marlowe was arrested, taken straight back to England, but then he was released immediately, which suggests that maybe his atheism was just a cover for his spying work. However, a few months later, his next roommate was arrested for heresy. They found some heretical writings in his room, and the roommate blamed Chirstopher Marlowe. This, combined with the fact that there were many pamphlets against Protestants written in iambic pentameter at the time, led Chirstopher Marlowe to be arrested. He was put on trial, but he died 10 days later before he could be tried. So this leads us all to the question of who killed Chirstopher Marlowe. The short answer is Ingram Fraser. So Chirstopher Marlowe was stabbed in the eye at 29 in a pub brawl, which was done over the bill, which seems like a bit of an overreaction, but apparently Chirstopher Marlowe was quite a violent guy. However, there is more to this than that. So Ingram Fraser received a lot of money from Chirstopher Marlowe's best friend's wife, who he was living with at the time. This could suggest that the wife was jealous of Chirstopher Marlowe's relationship with her husband. There is another theory, that Walter Raleigh killed Chirstopher Marlowe. This is because Walter Raleigh was supposedly in something called the School of Atheism with Chirstopher Marlowe, and Marlowe was said to have read atheist lectures to Walter. If Marlowe was arrested for heresy, maybe the risk of him betraying Walter would be too great, and it would bring him down too. There is also a theory that Queen Elizabeth I had him killed for the Catholic and atheist messages in his plays. However, it's not entirely sure why she would have done this instead of just having him executed for heresy. However, my favourite theory is that much like Jon Snow, Chirstopher Marlowe was never really killed off. With his connections to the Secret Service, it was very probable that he could have faked his death. The coroner who dealt with his autopsy was the Queen's coroner, instead of the county coroner that it should have been. So they could have replaced the body with someone who had died recently. It was clear that Marlowe needed to leave the country. He was massively in debt and very much in danger, and he had the ability to do so. Some people even stretch this theory to suggest that Shakespeare's plays were actually written by Marlowe. Before Marlowe's death, Shakespeare had written one poem, but after his death, he became England's most celebrated playwright. There are some similarities between the plays. This is an extract from Christopher Marlowe's The Jew of Malta, which is very similar to the balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet. However, maybe this just shows the influence that Christopher Marlowe has had on literature. He was the first major playwright to use blank verse, and he was one of the greatest tragedians of his time. While Shakespeare is more celebrated now, perhaps if Marlowe had not died at 29, it wouldn't be the same. But you never know, maybe he didn't.
Time for 2 questions.
That's good.